Greetings to all of you, and I do welcome you to this broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, it's a pleasure, it's a delight. It is certainly an honor to be here with you this evening. As you join the broadcast, please indicate to me whether you hear me clearly, you see me clearly. It's certainly a significant moment where we're here and we're faced with so many very important matters of national interest, which is why you see me speaking, or us would be speaking here this evening to Guyana's crises and glaring recklessness. For those of you who may have thought that there would have been a different approach to governing our country, there would have been a more responsible approach exhibited by the People's Progressive Party, and I'm using that term progressive um, quite scarcely tonight. But to consider or to think that there would have been a different behavior would have been wishful thinking. We must be aware that this administration, based on the past 2 months, 2 months, would have demonstrated to us as Guyanese that they are going to be even worse than they would have been over the last 5 years. Their conduct is destructive. The way in which they are managing our matters of significant interest in this country, although it's unsurprising, it is still threatening to our well-being. Irfan Ali is being himself. And what I'm grateful for is the fact that Forward Guyana movement continues to, without fear, without compromise, and in the most patriotic and passionate manner, we continue to make significant and very, very passionate calls for there to be good governance in this country. We're not in any way doing this because we expect that the People's Progressive Party will change and become angels in a few weeks. Why the call continues to be so loud is because we understand the value of good governance. We understand the benefits that it would accrue to the nation when we are governed properly. There are a number of things that have happened in just 2 months, and many of which we've been able to speak to extensively, but nonetheless, we continue to do so. So in a short time, I'll be joined or caused to come to the stage, one who I consider to be my sister, our Member of Parliament, Amanza Walton Desir. And we shall have a discussion that is so important. What I'm grateful for as well is the fact that many Guyanese, even those who are not Guyanese, would say to us that they pay attention to the quality that we bring to this public space in terms of conversations. They pay attention to the genuineness in reference to how we conduct ourselves and have these conversations. And for that, I'm grateful, because you expect from us uprightness. You expect from us just being very forthright. You expect from us an attitude that says that we have the best interests of the nation at heart, and that's all that matters to us. We are not afraid to cause Barrett Jagdi or anyone else to have an issue with what we say. What we would do is challenge them to refute what we've said with evidence and facts. And that's where the challenge lies. That is where the difficulty lies for the People's Progressive Party. And I'd be for to call them pathetic, honestly speaking, because they've become worse in 2 months. We will speak this evening to something that I And I know Ford Ghana movement would have every right to be very loud about and highly upset about. And that happens to be the fact that for the first time in our history, as far as we're aware, someone who is a non-national Venezuelan, based on what they've said, is charged or would be charged with an act of terrorism, not against a military base, not against a paramilitary one like the Ghana Police Force, the Ghana Fire Service, or prison. No, a, in a public space at a gas station, there's been an act of terrorism claiming the life of a Guyanese child. And you would have heard on so many occasions that Amanza Walton Desir, our member of parliament, you'd have heard me and so many other people from Fort Ghana movement speaking to this issue of the Venezuelans and other migrants who are here unchecked. You saw the Robeson men could not, when he was Home Affairs, Minister of Home Affairs, give a straight account and a sensible account of what they were doing about this issue. You were warned, Guyana, that this is a ticking time bomb, and the pun is intended. Trouble is at our doorsteps, and trouble has crossed the threshold of our door, and it's come right into our house now. So we speak to that. We speak, of course, about the matter regarding the police officer who was shot off duty, apparently, and how the court is handling the situation. We speak this evening to the most recent, of course, is just about everywhere now, this arrest of Azadin Mohammed being the potential leader of the opposition. We'll also speak to the fact that on Monday, Parliament is supposed to be convened, and our member of Parliament representing Forward Ghana Movement would be in the House of Assembly. I cannot wait to see how we shall function in that space. Very interesting. So permit me to welcome to the stage Amanza Walton Desir. There she is. If you unmute your microphone, we would love to hear
Hi, how we all doing? How are
from
you?
the Member of Parliament for Forward Ghana Movement in this parliamentary cycle. How are you and how have you been?
I am well. I am well, thank you. I am a little tired. It's been a week and a half, but
I
my
can imagine.
goodness.
So
Wow.
it's good to see you here, and
Mhm.
I wish we could have been chatting under different circumstances.
Right,
But
right.
we're ready to speak to matters regardless of what they are.
Yeah.
And I would love for us to begin to speak to what you have spent quite a while addressing, and that would be this issue of migrants in our nation and how it's been handled. We spoke about it in reference to our electoral process. We spoke to it regarding our safety, and unfortunately, we are now living the reality. We faced that reality on Sunday evening, where a little Guyanese girl, 6 years old, would have been unalived for those on on the other platform, would have been taken out by a terrorist.
Yeah.
What I want us to speak to is that as well as the response. You see, for me, the act is terrible. We
Hmm.
don't have to say that. But the response from the administration, even it was in Saudi Arabia, it seems as though whenever there's trouble in this nation, I don't know who buys this ticket or who's the agent, but it works to perfection. Irfan is normally on a plane. When Maduro had the vote that one time, Irfan and Bart were in Dubai. Now we have an act of terrorism. Irfan is over there. And let us speak firstly to the response. So we can speak to the fact that you've addressed this. Um, just for the sake of this platform, I would be happy if you can reiterate what are some of the concerns that we face, and then we speak to the response, the press conference, and those things. So the floor is yours. Always on my page. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you, Nigel. Always, just a pleasure to be here and to be rapping with you. I've got to first start by again expressing condolences to Soraya's family. You know, I've not said this publicly before now, but Soraya is a child that has visited my constituency office on several occasions. Her mother is very active in terms of helping us to do a lot of the philanthropic work that my foundation does. And so it shook me to my core because I remember this, bouncy little child just, you know, running around, and hmm, it I don't think I've recovered from it as yet, just on the heels of Adriana and now this, and it is taking a toll on my psyche. And so, you know, this is this is not a time for I told you so.
Right.
And I don't want it to come across as, oh, I told you so, because there's nothing to exalt in any of this. A child is dead. Family members are seriously injured. And I'm going to say some controversial things tonight here, Nigel, because I am tired of pointing out that the PPP is the problem.
Right.
Everybody knows that the PPP is the problem. The bigger question is, what are we, the people, going to do about them? And the last thing I asked in Parliament is, we know who they are. What are we going to do about it? We have to take it's one thing to stand up and to say it's them, it's them, it's them. We absolutely know that it is the PPP. We know who they are. We know how they operate. We understand that they are about domination and control. The question is, what are we, the people, doing about it? I'm not I saying no, that we know what is wrong and we know how to fix it. What we have to have is the courage to
Yeah.
stand up and fix it, Nigel. I'm tired of crying over our children now, because you have a government that we know that they do not care. How long are we going to stand and say they don't care?
Right. That's good.
We know all of these things. So um I don't feel very, words don't fail me very often, but
So
this
true. Yeah.
is enough, man.
Yeah.
Is enough. You have, and you know what you have apologists on
Oh,
the
tell.
PPP
Oh,
side
yeah.
that will excuse whatever this government does, and they do not study history, and so they do not understand that when you go down this slippery slope, there is no turning back. And the rich ones and the ones that can afford it will hop on a plane and they'll go to Miami, they will go to Dubai, and they will go to other places. And they leave the poor, the needy, the ordinary Guyanese to face the shenanigans. And it is time that we wake up and understand that. It is time we break the back of this foolish racism. And I'm going to come to the opposition just now, Nigel, because I'm not in the mood for foolishness. I'm not in the mood for foolishness, because I saw some things today that got me very mad, very angry. And is a foretelling that the 13th Parliament, if we do not get ourselves together, will be utter and complete confusion. But
Yeah.
I digress. Let us talk
Rightfully so.
about let's talk about this Venezuelan issue. I have said time and again that it was a soft invasion.
Yeah.
4 years ago, I stood and I said it. And we as Guyanese have to wake up, because when I said it, she demands always looking for attention. Attention? Your nation is in clear and present danger, as we have now seen. And you think that I care about attention? And so you have the introduction of fifth columnists. Now, for those who don't know what a fifth column is, it is a group of people who are sleepers then. that are
Right in our
put into our
society.
society and that are
Right in.
activated at the right time, or at the time convenient to the opponent, depending on the circumstances.
Right. Right.
I warned about it. But the reality is that this PPPC government is so drunk on power, is so drunk on power that they prefer to allow, and I want to be very clear, they prefer to allow the unchecked flow of migrants into the country with all kinds of foolish excuses. Yes, we need labor force. That is true. Absolutely true. But if Guyanese are leaving Guyana to go work, you think they could run up in anybody's country and not be properly documented, not
Yeah.
pay their taxes? And so we have encouraged a lot of lawlessness in the name of political expediency, and now our children are unsafe. This is a family that went to buy chicken, as is their weekend custom, and the little girl is dead. Her face disfigured in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. And we have time to be petty, and we have time to be dealing with foolishness. Nigel, it is ridiculous, because we the people are allowing this lawlessness to abound.
And if I may, Amanda, what, because you're heading down the path of the response. A child, this is not an adult, and it would have been bad if it were an adult. A child, a little 6-year-old girl. The pain Guyanese face now is that we have things, we have cameras everywhere, and eyes are everywhere, so we see things. You don't have to read about it in the news, where if you can't read well, of course, you save that pain. We saw what happened to that car. What bugs me is whether Omar Khan saw it, the army fella, the chief of staff, because we hopefully they understand tonight that we don't intend to play hopscotch with them. So I'm not here to play games with people, and I know that you're not. If the army, I'm serious here, if Omar Khan would have heard that the tires being burnt in Linden or burnt up the East Coast on Sunday morning, and he got a call, hey, people they have some Guyanese, some people, but don't say Guyanese, people burning tires up East Coast or in Linden. We want some backup. I can promise Guyana that the soldiers would have been on our vehicles, heading down the highway, heading up the East Coast with AK-47s and AR-15 rifles, whatever they have, to show us that they mean business. I promise you that. But a bomb or two, whatever it is, was detonated. My son went to school. My daughters are going to work. And none of them could tell me, Daddy, we saw the army just circling the school or just ping. Nothing. As if it's a normal thing in our country. We both have got, my grandfather was a sergeant in the army. I know your father spent time there. Tell me, based on what we know the army to be like, or would have been like, would we have had a terror attack in our country? And it was just business as usual?
It couldn't be. My father was a captain in the military, and he was an army officer, and so I am as brought up a certain way.
Right.
So from very early, you could see this. Anybody with any kind of security background or training would see what we were talking about. And now there is no patrol around.
Oh my God, man.
When the Guyanese rioters were responding out of grief for Adriana,
Correct.
they were up and down and all around. And now you don't see any of that. This government has their priorities all messed up. And you know what they are precipitating? They're precipitating people taking the law into their own hands. And
Yeah.
this is something that we as leaders are warning about all the time, because the lack of response from the government could force citizens into a particular mode when they do not feel as if the state is protecting them. People will try to protect themselves, and they're
I don't feel
innocent
safe.
Venezuelan nationals. They're people who come here just to work. They're Cubans who are here. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
And
But
so the government is exposing these migrants, they're exposing these migrants, the ones who are innocent, to all kinds of danger.
But Amanza, let's put our scuba gear on here, please. Honestly speaking,
Mm-hmm.
this fella went to a gas station. He knew just what he was doing. This terrorist went to a gas station. He
Mm-hmm.
went by a pump. That's a 20,000 probably gallon tank, maybe two or three tanks. They have diesel, they have kerosene, all kinds of fuel. So you know just what he was doing. If that attendant did not turn him away and that bomb detonated at the pump, let's say you have people who were there, more people went for chicken, whatever else it is. The blast from that just a gas tanks, those little propane tanks, was so far reaching and the impact. Imagine what George would have been like. Okay? Now, my concern is this. His mentality was for mass destruction. That's the plan. A school in Georgetown, the average school, public school, has about 5, 6, 7, 800 children in it. The hospital has so many people in it. Soft targets. You have to work hard. Sadly speaking, some police stations are soft targets. Now, you mean to tell me that as a Guyanese, I cannot now think, the mall, for example. Tomorrow, if I say I'm going to the mall, are we understanding as a people that one more, 10 more, 15 more of these men, 100 more of them, could be told now is the time to act? Because you get to what's happening in Trinidad, what's brewing over there, and why they tell the military people you cannot be on vacation right now. Come back. Guyanese don't understand. The Trinidad has told soldiers, come back here. None of y'all could travel right now. That's the report we're getting. And there has to be a reason why they're doing that. Again, Ali doesn't. Apparently, we're at a picnic while Venezuela and the US are having whatever they're having. But think about it, Amans, and please speak to this to us as a member of parliament, as one who's about to be saddled with the responsibility of making laws for this country. How do we act so casually as leaders, or do they? When we know that the intention was to have mass destruction in our city, there's a mall in the city or two.
The PPP does what it does because they've been allowed to get away with it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I mean, listen here, Nigel. I really don't have the patience to be wrong, but they do it because they are allowed to do it. They do it because they know that we are so divided as a society. They know. Let me tell you something. The PPP has managed to break the spirit of Guyanese people
Yeah.
in
The
such a
unified spirit.
degree. And
The
we
unified
as
spirit.
leaders have to begin to speak life to our people, Guyanese. Let me tell you, I have so many friends in the Caribbean. They say, "How Guyanese is just allow things. We passive. And listen, I have no patience for nobody that's our man's is talking violence. What I'm saying is that the people, we have to grow a backbone, we have to stand up, and we have to speak up. We got to speak up now. And we've got to understand that nobody is coming to save us. Nigel, nobody is coming to save us.
No
You
one did
can't,
anything since
I
Sunday.
keep saying it. You can't outsource this struggle. All of the keyboard warriors that love to sit down and type crap. Now is the time for you. Listen, you
Yeah.
got to stand up and be counted. You've got to stand up and be counted. This cavalier attitude of the PPP is born out of the fact that the PPP's paradigm is that they don't care what happened as long as
No.
they're in charge and they're able to
Right.
lord it over people.
And they're
They
unbothered.
don't
Yeah.
business. They would rule over a dung heap as long as they're in charge. That is their mindset. That is their mindset. As long as they could rob and rape and pillage the treasury, they don't care if it's a dung heap. And there is none who is blind as he who will not see,
Would
not
not
who
see.
can't see,
Yeah.
who would not see. And this is what we're dealing with here in this place. They're taking Guyanese lives for granted. We as Guyanese are taking our own lives for granted when we don't stand up and demand more from this government. I remember in Trinidad some years ago, Nigel, they raised the price on evaporated milk. The people were outside.
On the road. On the
The
road.
people who are outside, we Guyanese that sit down here, we pull in the thing, or we got mind about the job. If they fire every public servant that stand up and speak up, the country will shut down.
Cannot function.
Country
60%,
will shut
40%.
down.
Because
But
you're already on
we,
demand. We don't have an adequate supply of public service. If people don't realize that yet. But
man,
from for the Ghana movement, it's necessary for us to issue a significant and very serious warning to Guyanese and advice. Be very alert, very, very alert. Be very alert as to people resting bags down and walking away from you. I'm telling you that.
and this
You
is
have to be.
what should be happening, Nigel. This, instead of Kwame and his trolls, and I hope, Kwame, you're listening to me,
Yeah,
instead of
he's
you
there.
paying them 30 people to sit down and type foolishness, what you should be rolling out is a see something, say something
Yeah,
campaign.
definitely.
That's what you should be rolling out. Instead
Yeah.
of critical all of them sitting down there to talk bilge, educate people. You see something, you say something. These are the hotlines for you to call. This is the number that you can report this to.
Anyone who doesn't
Maduro
want to
is
retrieve a
giving his
bag.
people rifles next door,
Yeah,
you know. We ain't
exactly.
even giving we people information.
Not even information.
We're not arming our people with even information. And you know, I promised myself that I'm gonna be calm, but
Please
listen,
don't.
this is foolishness.
Not
This is
now.
foolishness. We don't have information. You don't have points of contact. Now is a time when community policing groups are to be activated. Now is the time for every community to have a WhatsApp group. You see something, you say something. This person, now is the time for this government to be saying to the people of Guyana, this is how you alert yourself. We are not militarily trained. Venezuela has conscription, which means that when you have a certain age, you got to go to train. They
Must
disband
enlist. Yeah.
national service.
Yeah.
Disband national service.
Do we have or have you seen any program where, well, probably experts would tell Guyanese, uh, we trained in explosives and how to deal with the same? I believe that in every school they should be telling our students,
What are our
if you see
drills?
a stranger, right? If you see a stranger in the
Are
gate,
we doing fire drills? Are we doing emergency drills? But let me tell you,
evacuations.
are we doing evacuation drills? Okay, what is the muster point in case of
What
an
are we doing?
emergency?
How
What is
far
the
from a
muster
building should you
point?
stand if there's a bomb? What are we doing as a people? So, Amanza, listen, as a member of parliament, and I keep saying this because you are now given the role to speak in an environment where hopefully, not expectedly, but hopefully, you'll be heard by those who have common sense on the other side, which are very few, to say we have to act. We don't even have to wait for money to speak to this, because your posture today should be the posture of every member of the opposition. Every member, especially those who are started with, who are responsible for leading the charge in there. We can have personal convictions and personal issues override a national crisis. We are in danger. We've been attacked by terrorists.
Exactly. And you know, there is a story of the shepherd boy and the wolf. We cry
Right.
wolf, wolf, wolf. This
Until.
foolishness that they did with charging those rioters and protesters with terrorism charges.
Say
Do
it,
they
please.
understand what terrorism is?
Say
Let
it.
me tell you, I have been talking with Guyanese and people are so stressed out. They got PTSD and all of that right now. And the government is doing nothing to assuage the concerns. Nandlal, Jagdio, none of them are coming out. There has been no calming statement to the public, no reassurance to the public. They got time to run behind Azruddin Mohammed. Meanwhile, the entire population is exposed.
Look at that. So if and sadly, I don't want to say this, but if they were more operative, if they are more, I believe that they are. They have now said, listen to these people. Everybody look at Azir and his father. So when people look in one way in the news and everything else, they have free reign. Because people might have shifted
because
quickly.
you got 15 jeep of police to go pick up one man.
My point. How many
You
jeeps
got
were there
15 jeep
when
of
the bomb
police
detonated?
to go and pick up
One man.
So this is a misdirection of our resources. If let me tell you something. If I were in charge of this thing, you know what would have been happening? Well, Parliament would have been called already. That's one.
Right.
Two, I would have commissioned every parliamentarian. Y'all gotta go into the regions.
Yes.
I don't care if you're PPP, your PNC, or MP, going to the region and you've got to talk to people and you've got to begin to share with people and you've got to begin to calm people down and you've got to begin to talk about, public awareness, etc.
Yes.
If I
Yes.
were in the government, I would have been giving the opposition money to do their public awareness campaigns,
Yes.
because this is not a PPP or a PNC or a APNU or a Win Life. This is a
We are
Guyanese life.
consumed, all under attack.
This is a Guyanese life. And so that is the level of magnanimity that is required. But Irfan Ali and them can't show it because they are basic. They are basic. They are unevolved. And they do not have the ability to recognize when it is a national effort that is required.
We have had a terrorist attack. Terrorists have attacked, a terrorist or more would have attacked our nation. Guyanese, please understand this. I beg you to understand this. This is not a bomb place somewhere. We don't say it like that. A terrorist has attacked our nation. More so, they've said that he's from a nation, Venezuela, where there's a border dispute. And there's so many issues that have arisen around this border issue that we have now seen in our capital. A terrorist has attacked and killed one of us, intending to kill many of us.
One of
We
our
have a
children,
national
Nigel.
issue. Say it again.
I said one of our children.
One of our children.
The
He didn't
innocent
care who
among.
he killed. He didn't go to Camp Ghana, wherever. He went to the public space, as I said. Think about it. These men, if they have the mind to plant a bomb in your city, at a gas station, believe me, they're not playing with the lives of Guyanese.
They're
And
not.
we want
They don't care about the lives of Guyanese.
no.
It is for our government. We want people to care about us when our own government displays just a rabid disregard and disrespect. But you know what has happened, Nigel? This government, because they are so egotistical and so full of themselves, they have painted themselves into a corner, because this government has unrolled a very ambitious infrastructure project. And guess who? About 85% of the labor
From where? Tell us.
is from where?
Thank
So
you
you're
very
not
much.
going to find the businessmen who are making the money pressuring this government to do something, because it is their labor that is at risk. So to
Cheap
hell with all
labor.
of you, money got
Cheap
for make.
labor.
Money got for make. And so instead of this government regularizing Venezuelan migration, and mind you, they're Venezuelans whose mother and father Guyanese and they deserve their citizenship. That
Right.
is not for question. But regularizing migration, you could bring Cubans, you could bring Haitians, but no, you don't want the
No.
Haitians.
No. Because Haitians are here and they refuse. I
You
have
don't
many
want the
reports.
Haitians. You've refused to
Refuse
give
to give
them
them
work
work permits.
permits,
Yes.
etc. The crime rate in Haitian by Haitians here, you don't hear them getting into trouble. You don't
No.
hear it.
No.
Robson Ben admitted that the rate of incarceration of Venezuelans has increased exponentially. He said
Yeah.
that in the National Assembly.
Yeah.
But, oh, when you see, you
Wow.
sow the wind, you just reap a whirlwind. And what they are reaping here is the whirlwind, because Venezuela plays the long game. And what they have done is that they've come and they've ingratiated themselves, and they have now become the foundation of this infrastructure thrust that the government so boasts about. And so
Development.
Ali has tied himself in a knot, he and Jagdio, because now, what are you going to do? Because if you ask people to peacefully leave, we can't cut ribbon for bridge.
Oh boy.
You understand? And so Guyanese are left as lambs to the slaughter, because you know what happened? This government is so proud and they're so puffed up with pride that they can't reach across the island and say, you know what, man, let's get together and work this thing out. They're so top on the triumphalism where we win domination and control that they do not understand how they have jeopardized and opened up this nation and what they've opened them to. And let me tell you, I cannot sit there and say that every Venezuelan I have friends. I have friends who are Venezuelans who I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
from Fifth
yeah,
Village when their mother and their father moved, Anil and Sunil, they moved to Venezuela and they've remigrated here.
yeah,
Let me tell you, I have friends who are legitimate bona fide Guyanese who grew up in
yeah.
Venezuela and they
Correct.
certainly belong here. But there has to be a process to screen people. And I
That's what
do
we've
not
said.
support this issuing of EID. People must leave and they must
Let's
return.
go there, please, because I was going somewhere, but since we're there, because our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Onish Waldron, would have at the press
Home affairs.
conference, oh, sorry, Home Affairs,
Mm-hmm.
speaking to,
Don't
speaking
take
to,
walk yet.
no, no, no. When she spoke to this bombing and so on, she said, listen, if you're here illegally, if you're here illegally, come to us and be registered. Now, the Constitution is clear, unless there's been an amendment of some sort. If you're illegally, you did not show yourself at the port of entry, we got a problem with you. You're either fined, you're incarcerated, or you're deported. We can say to them what you said, listen, leave, and return through the legal route. We can establish many border sites because they don't want to have clutter at one area. You can come back, but we have to have a record of your return. We need to prove that you're not a military agent as best as we can. You need to tell us whether you're military trained. So you can't say lie. If you find you lying, of course you go to jail. But there has to be some means of checking this. And you spoke to this for so long. We have to check. How could Robert Passad after represent say, no, there were 17,000 or whatever thousand? Robert said, hey, we have
Robert, said,
150,000.
listen to me, man. I fed up with this man.
Lord have
You know what?
mercy.
Because he is somebody that I credit with a modicum of decency and sense,
Right.
and so he understands. And I he's one of the few I believe that really love this country.
He
And
doesn't
so
lie well. Robert can't lie too long.
to see this foolishness,
Yeah.
you have to have a way of remedying this situation. It is not going to be by attacking the Venezuelans in our midst. We can't do that.
No, no.
The government has to have a process where these people are removed and allowed to re-enter.
Yeah.
Screened, fingerprinted,
The whole
etc.
9 yards. Yes,
With
correct.
forwarding addresses so that you know how to track and you know how to trace them. And this is not singling out Venezuelans for negative attention. It is simply an immigration process. What has happened is that heretofore, as we
Right.
say in law, they've been exempted from this process.
Yeah, correct. Correct. That's
Because
what's
I
happening.
asked Robson, I said, do you have a mechanism whereby folks could be registered? And I guarantee you, by and large, a number of the Venezuelans here would happily go
Yeah.
and
It's
legalize and regularize
correct.
themselves.
Because the many of them have a better experience here now, based on what I'm hearing from them. Many of them have realized that it's a more peaceful environment in which, and they said Guyanese are so nice to them. They said it. Because I
Yes,
interact with some of them in terms of work, and they say, listen, you people are
right.
so nice and so cool. Some say they don't want to go back because of the experiences they've had. So to have that, I believe if the intentions are pure, they'll be willing to do so. And it's only fair. But for a minister of Home Affairs say to people, listen, if you're legal, come. We register, give you an ID card. Then what? And you just
I
return to
want to
society?
I want to make a point though, and I'll be looking to see that this amnesty is offered to the Haitians in our midst. because there are
Oh
a number
Lord,
of Haitian nationals here that the government has refused to process work permits for them.
qualified Haitian nationals too, who went to
Qualified
university and, this, and stuff.
teachers,
Yes,
doctors.
doctors,
They're
nurses.
telling the Haitian nationals when they go to Home Affairs that to um, have a work permit, you have to have a job first. And then when they apply for jobs, the employees are telling them you have to have a
To have a
work
work
permit.
permit
And
first.
so they're
Right.
putting these people around in a circle. Meanwhile, they got desks set up specially for them. These are CARICOM members. These are members of a CARICOM member state.
Free
These
movement.
are members of a state that has never declared ill or hostile intent towards us. And this is why I said to people, you cannot treat the Venezuelan situation the same, because
No,
these are people who have been indoctrinated, some of them innocently so, to
mhm.
believe that Essequibo belongs to them. And they
Different, different
operate from that
situation.
mindset. And
Yeah,
that mindset is inimical to our national safety and security. So you have to have a carve out in terms of how you deal with that, because to do otherwise would be irresponsible.
and they should be interviewed. That's upon re-entry, they should be interviewed. What are your views? Put it on the form. What are your views regarding Essequibo? They have to say it. They have to be bound in writing to. We believe that Essequibo belongs to Guyana. If you don't say that, then you can't come here. It has to be that kind of attitude we have. You made it, sis.
When you take the Pledge of Allegiance in the US, you got to renounce all
Of course,
powers
all
foreign. So you've got to state some very, very clear things, because what? They hold you to it. They hold you to it. And so, Nigel, we are really, we listen, as a community, we're going to have to band together at the community level. We're going to have to start watching each other's back. We're going to have to start policing ourselves, not taking the law into our own hands. It's a different matter.
correct, correct.
And I want to be clear. We're going to have to start looking out for the welfare of we're going to have to start looking out for each other's children.
Yeah, we call the
We are
PTA.
going to have to start to be our brother's keeper,
Yes,
because
the
this
PTA.
government is doing nothing to keep us. Absolutely
No,
nothing.
and we call on the PTA, the members of the association across this country. I call on you, as you've seen me with parents instead of police. You know I am. Go in front of the schools every so often. If when you have the time, sit, observe strangers, observe their conduct. Security officers observe. They should have added security person to these schools. You just can't walk in there anymore because we're under threat at this time. But I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
For Guyana Movement issued a statement last week, probably this week. I think it's this week. Making a what I thought would have been a common sense request. If finale, call the three leaders, especially, or maybe more, but let's do the three of you. Amanza Walton Desir, Azadin Mohammed, Terence Campbell, or Aubrey Norton, whichever one. We have a crisis. We've been attacked. Let's talk. Let's at least have a plan and a four of you sit before the media we unite. We come on the terrorist attack. Have you been approached by anybody from Finale's office?
Nobody.
So he's not going to do that either.
They're not going to do that either. Nobody, because you see, again, for them, it's about looks, it's about
Wow.
power. Understand that it's a level of drunkenness and triumphalism that these people have, so that to relate to somebody is a problem, and they're very good at dividing. So if they do invite, they're gonna invite two and don't invite one, and that is how they operate. This nation has never been at the center of these people's concern. It is all a big show and a parade. And I will tell you, Nigel, I'm gonna say a lot tonight on this show. This is why, you see, when I talk about the temperance of leaders, because if you're gonna operate in political leadership, you gotta understand when to zip your mouth. You have to understand that it is not every meeting that you're going to be able to speak about publicly. And so
Right.
this is why I was deeply worried about winning up new fighting in the public and throwing up text messages and because that type
Nonsense.
of conduct is used now against the opposition to say that these are intemperate people. So we can't discuss matters of national security with them. And this is why we have to be sober and we have to be temperate, because we have been elected to represent people. And we got to remember that at all times. We're not representing ourselves. We are elected. Sovereignty belongs to the people who exercise that sovereignty through
True.
their duly elected
Yeah.
representatives.
Yeah.
Article 9 of the Constitution, that is what it says. And so we have to, Nigel, we gotta understand what's at stake here, bro. We have to understand. Political leaders across the spectrum gotta understand that we are living in a time that we have not lived in before. No longer is the Caribbean region, this notion of a zone of peace is fast disappearing.
That's correct. That's
Our
correct.
posture has to change. Our
Yeah.
mindset has to change. We have to realize now that we gotta be vigilant. I'm not saying be um be unnecessarily
Violent.
conspiratorial,
Yeah.
but be vigilant. You got to be vigilant. Our posture has to change. We have to look at the way we screen people when we go into public institutions. We got to look at the way we screen our schools when we go into public institutions. We need to be having seminars with the bus conductors, the bus drivers,
That's
about how
correct.
you screen, how you notice if bags are left in minibuses. We
That's the
have to
point.
change our complete posture, and these jokers are running around town wasting time and engaging in bravado when our population is vulnerable. Is vulnerable. Trinidad has called back every soldier, every officer, every law enforcement personnel has been called back to the island. What are we doing
Why?
with what's going on
Obviously,
over there
there
that
has to
we
be a
don't know?
reason.
What is going on over there that we don't know? Come on, man. Come on, man.
And
Come on,
you
man.
see, Amanda, what matters to me is how leaders respond to crises. It's important because the response to a crisis in your nation, let's take September 11, 9/11, they call it. When the terrorists attacked, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. When the Twin Towers fell, the Republicans, the Democrats, they held hands, they sang, they cried, they prayed, and they said to, I think, George Bush then, listen, we have been attacked. We empower you, Mr. President, to do what it takes to deal with the situation. That's the American spirit when they were under attack. We have got the first act of terrorism, true terrorism here, in terms of a foreign national, because Son Chapman wasn't a foreign national. And what do we have? You know what? You know what, seriously, fan? You, I'm telling you the truth. You see, when you sit with me here, the things I want to tell this man that I don't because I respect you as my sister. I don't say certain things when you're here, but believe me, he should thank you when he sees you in Parliament. Shake your hand and say, listen, I thank you. Because the things I want to say to this fella, we have never had a worse president. Honestly, and that's as nice as I can put it. We have never had a worse person than Irfan. Irfan is incapable, as far as I'm concerned, of understanding the gravity of situations. Unless, in my view, it's his money being affected or his ego being affected. Anything else doesn't matter to him. If you stroke his ego, he smiles and he feels good. Because which president, most importantly, I could tell you all, and I'm not afraid to call his name, Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham would have never had this Venezuelan issue in the first place. You can't pop in here just the way you want. That's the first thing. Secondly, if we were ever attacked by a terrorist, it was not going to go down so easy with the army just sleep in the barracks and chill every day. Because there would have been a message sent that you don't do this on Guyanese soil. You don't attack us like this and it's ordinary. But what we have, and I think Bart and I would have said or done something that would have shown, listen, we have to respond. But this boy doesn't know what it means to lead a country in a crisis. What he does is he creates crises. That's what he does. In this case, he created one
Yeah.
because people don't. He hasn't even told Guyanese what it means to be attacked by terrorists. What your friend said was, listen, with the Adriana situation, if you burn a tire, if you burn debris on the road, you're a terrorist. And Annan had the gall to say that you can face the death sentence. Now look who Irfan then told Oni, tell him that I'm prepared to sign for this man to be executed.
Because
So those who burn tires will be executed too then, huh?
for them, that's what power is about. To them, that is how they perceive power: big talking and being braggadocious, and
Yeah.
not looking after the interests of your people. And Nigel, we have to get back to a place where these committees work. They've always been a um, bipartisan security apparatus. They've shut us out of that because, again, they're petty.
Yeah.
They don't
Correct.
understand where to draw the line with politics and nationhood. To them, nationhood is complete domination and control of every aspect of national life. That is what
That's
it is
true.
to them.
That's true.
So they don't understand the level of humility it takes to lead as well.
You know what? With that said, I know that you because it took me somewhere we need to be with what you just said. Roxanne George, beyond comment. Chancellor, should I say former Chief Justice acting? I don't know how to put it now. Now, you're in the you're in the bar, so I know that you'll be very guided as to what you would say. But I've never seen this. I've never seen this, and I want to make sense of it as a human being. I always ask you to do that for me. Someone was a chancellor of the judiciary. She went. She was told to go and leave, whatever it was. She took leave, coincidentally, just around election time. So you go and leave, Roxanne. You go to be chancellor acting. I'm Navindra Singh. You come over here. You be chief justice acting. The honored Cummins I know is a woman with great intelligence, honestly speaking. So for her to tell me if I see her today, listen, Nigel, you know what I did? I came back from leave and within hours decided, you know what? I just want to go in retirement. No. That is not the person I know. And she doesn't reason in that manner. So for her to return and then just say, you know what? Okay, fine, that's it. Early retirement, I'm gone. Something is amiss. What is even worse to me is that Irfan Ali didn't even see, again, I tell you, save this man, He never even saw how insulting and stupid it is for him to not have this woman leave being not an acting chancellor,
Confirmed. Being
but to have
confirmed.
the confirmation
Being
to it or
confirmed.
be agreed.
They,
Look
they,
at
they
how he
would
had
have
her
been
leave.
there would have been a decency about
Goodness
having her
gracious.
confirmed
Take it away, please.
before she left. It would have been the decent thing to do. It would have been the honorable thing to do to in deference to the stellar career that she has had.
That's right.
But this PPPC government is bent on domination and control, and they are racist. And apologies about saying it.
That's why I love you, man. You see that?
They
Viewers,
are racist.
this is
And
our
so,
member parliament right here.
to me, and let me tell you something. I am a black Guyanese woman, and I will call the spade the spade. They have a problem with two black women being in position.
Such power.
That is the fundamental fact.
Such power.
Listen to me. We ain't doing sugarcoating. We're not doing sugarcoating. That is the problem right there. And I'm disappointed to see senior members of the bar not decrying this level of nastiness and lawlessness. Oh my God, what are we coming to as a nation? Eh? Everything has to be corrupted. Everything has to be.
And who's behind it again? One man, one nursery school boy.
I am disappointed that there were not more people coming out in support of Justice Cummings.
That was an
He should
atrocity.
have been. And the fact that Aubrey agreed to the confirmation of these two women, it was a non-issue.
That's
There
right.
is nothing else but racism. There's no other reason. There was no other reason. They're not incompetent, neither of them. The legal impediment to them being appointed was removed because the opposition leader gave the blessing.
He's ready.
Mm? And then now you have to check to see if there is the issue of supersession in terms of seniority.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of lawyers are afraid to speak because they say, here, we got to appear before these people, and you know, they
Right.
can take it out on us, and so on and so forth. That is the degree of fear and apprehension which
Throughout our nation, every strata of society has this problem.
they lick a $4 million costs on Forward Guyana movement for
Yeah.
daring, for one of our clients, candidates rather, daring to ask a question, a
Yeah.
constitutional question.
4 million thus far.
You understand? Meanwhile, Annette got judgment against Jagdeo, you know, and he refuses to pay her a cent. But you will punish a Guyanese who comes to the court to ask a constitutional question.
Our reality.
But we will not know ourselves until our backs are against the wall.
And when, I should say, now that our backs are just about touching the wall, Guyanese have realized that within 2 months, October, November, we had election in September, October, November, if Irfan and Barrett, Anil and others could show you this much in 2 to 3 months, think about what they're saying to you, that they can go to the level of the chancellor, the chief justice. Roxanne goes back, no office, because somebody's telling her, you can't come in here. Look at the mockery. How can I have respect for the court, which I should, but when this nonsense is happening, the place where there should be the greatest exhibition of decorum, class, professionalism, ethics. And I know Madam Cummings. And what I know of her, she saw them and said, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this. That's kind of because her quality speaks to that. She refused to be engaged in some gutter foolishness and just say, listen, instead of having Madam Roxanne George just sit there in some auditorium, wherever it was, nah, I'll walk away.
Sometimes the greatest act of resistance that you could show Nigel is walking away.
Yeah, that's the nature of the person. I know it. Because she would not have herself or good name sullied, stained with the idiocy of Irfan Ali. Because this is reckless behavior. And to now see, you know what would be interesting to me? To see how quickly he would seek to confirm Navindra Singh. That's what I wait
tomorrow.
Right now.
Tomorrow.
If he gets the green light.
If Azruddin agrees.
Oh, but how you go there? See, you're in the spirit, man, because what is getting you now?
Yeah.
Listen, I believe, honestly, that Irfan's greatest pain tonight is thinking that on Monday, I may have to swear, look this man in his face. According to the Constitution, the president.
Well, he doesn't swear him in. It's
he has to confirm
at the level of the parliament.
Right. No, at the parliament level.
Yeah, he don't have to confirm. The people will vote.
Right. Once the people vote, Irfan is not the law. I
It's
think that
Jack
will already.
Deo that he got to face. Jack Deo doesn't feel like he should face Mohammed in
Oh
Parliament.
boy. No, but hold on. Let's clarify for me, please. The constitution I would have read it said that the president,
Uh-huh.
once the opposition members would have voted, that's the first phase. First step one. You and others have to vote, or you select who be the opposition leader, correct?
Yeah.
Now,
And that's declared in the House.
let's start with that part first, please.
Ooh.
16 members of parliament. I'm laughing, it's funny. This is not funny. 16 members of parliament for Win, 12 for APNU, one for Fort Ghana movement. So, normal practice would suggest that 15 people vote for Azadin and it should be a done deal. Correct?
Yes.
Plus one. Um, what what if what if somebody decides they wouldn't go that route?
Listen to
Or five
me.
people decide. This
Listen to
can
me.
actually happen.
People could decide, but let me say this to you on behalf of our Guyana movement. We ain't interested in the games.
Thank you.
We're not
Thank you for
interested
saying
in
that.
the games. We have
Thank
no
you.
interest in the games. And let me make this clear. I wrote to Azradin and I wrote to the APNU. I appended a 5-page document which was a framework for opposition cooperation in the 13th Parliament. Nobody responded.
Wow.
But today I saw that APNU appointed shadows.
I saw that too.
So I would have thought that now that elections are over, the reality of the situation is that Win has 16 seats, APNU 12, Forgan Movement has 1. There is a parliamentary opposition. I would have thought that what would have happened is that the three leaders would have gotten around the table and ironed out a modus vivendi or a way of coexisting and cohabiting.
Though we may not be in agreement.
Though we may not, because it is doable. There are models all around. And when I drafted what I drafted, I looked at other models from around the world where there are more than one parties in the parliamentary opposition and how they exist. And so this is a very, to me, worrying sign, because what will happen on Monday? Win is going to appoint shadows.
How does it
And
make any? I
for
thought
those
not
for
one
those
shot with three
who
ministries.
so I what for then gonna be a old shadow government? Like what happened there? So you see the point? Do you
Yes,
see
makes
how
sense. Yes,
logically it fought?
yes,
Come on, man. Come
yes,
on, man. The
yes.
people of Guyana deserve better than this, man. We campaigned, we ran an election, these are the results. And this is why when you look and you see how some countries operate, the campaigning machinery is always different from the governing machinery. There's a reason for it.
Has to be. As Hoyt
There's a
said, Hoyt put
reason
it well to my father. Because my father's never a member of the PNC, but Desmond Hoyt said to him, there's a time for campaigning and there's time for work. He said,
Yeah.
once the campaign is over, you don't have to be a member of PNC. You've been in the community, people respect you, and we need you to work as a counselor. It was that
And,
simple.
and and when you take an oath, you take an oath to the Constitution,
Beyond,
not a
not party.
political party. So you're a member of parliament for the people of Guyana. The government is the government for the people of Guyana. So I am not sure how this will work. What are we gonna have, 2 chief whips? 3? Well, I gonna whip I gonna whip
You
myself.
whip everybody.
I don't mean to laugh, but do you see how
Yes, yes.
when we cannot put aside egos and get into a room, how things break down?
But I believe that the fact that Irfan Ali is so poor and Bharat and others are so poor at leading this nation, I thought it would have been easy for I call it the combined opposition, I call it just the opposition, to show them better. Because it's easy now, because you have 3 parties who can show people, listen, we can work together,
We
we
can
can
work
coalesce,
together.
and we can
We
make this
can
happen.
work together. And it
It's
would have
easy.
been a beautiful demonstration of the inclusionary democracy that
Yeah,
we are wishing the PPP to operate in. You
of
can't
course.
tell the PPP operating inclusionary democracy and you on this one side
What are
doing
we doing?
foolishness.
So
You
take
cannot do it. It is not a game. This
no
is not a game. The decisions that we make affect the lives of Guyanese people, Nigel. And so today you make a big furor about announcing shadows. What is the problem? So if Win got 16,
16 shadows then. 16
so
shadow
what are we
ministers.
gonna do? Huh?
We might have to create some ministries to just shadow something because this doesn't make any sense to me. None. But let's go back to school here.
Oh, man.
So once let's hope or let's see they vote for Azadin Mohammed to be the members of the opposition elect him to be the leader. If Ali has to, what is his role? He has to confirm that
No, there is.
what's
I
the constitution say?
no. It's just announced in the National Assembly. There's no swearing in like that.
Okay.
The members are sworn in individually and so on and so forth. There's no as far as I can recall,
I think
because
I checked it today.
when Joe Harmon was, I don't recall that.
Yeah.
Don't quote me,
Well, we
but
check. That's fine. We can confirm.
I don't think so. I
One
don't
heart.
recall there being any interaction with the executive, because that is the legislature and it's a
Correct.
discrete arm of the government.
Correct.
So and remember that is the National Assembly. So it is Parliament when the president is present,
Right.
right? And so I
But I
feel
was saying
I
honestly,
feel like I'm gonna make a lot of bad friends over the next couple months. Trust me.
I've been saying that honest. I know the pain that the PPP faces, and most of Barton Irfan, is to look at Azadin and have to recognize him as the official leader of the opposition. Honestly speaking, that'd be uh, probably the worst thing that could happen to them. But on the flip side, I say to Guyanese again, leadership matters. Azadin, if he is chosen to be the official leader of the opposition, he has constitutional powers to be the same. He has to lead the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
have a terror, and he's coming in one of the worst times in our history. We just had an attack by a terrorist. We have if and others took so long to convene parliament, contracts were signed, a whole lot of things happened. There aren't committees in parliament so a whole lot has happened. He is the official leader. There has to be actions in Region 10. We're yet to have regional chairman. Like these guys don't realize what's happening here yet. We have no chairman in Region 10. Recklessness again, and we need leadership. Amans, it's interesting that one seat has such a loud voice. Why is Forward Guyana so bold, so brave, so loud? And we're saying that we're not going to be quiet. We must be governed with sense. And we're saying we're willing to work. What else can be asked of us?
Listen, I am resolved in what should be done. Duty is required of us. Reward is not our concern.
Yeah.
You understand? And for me, and I think this is the spirit that permeates Forward Guyana, the Forward Guyana movement, the people's movement, is this awareness that history will not forgive us if we do not do what we have been ordained to do. You understand? People and particularly folks like you and I, and a number of other people who have the ability to be elsewhere and enjoy quite a life.
Yeah,
You understand? But love of this country and love of the people of this country constrains you. Constrains you.
that's true.
You and I both have relatives that say, well, we are really doing home there. I mean, why y'all are there fussing and fighting?
Exactly.
Because we must. We do not
Yeah,
have a
yeah,
choice.
yeah, yes.
And so when it comes not from a place of personal convenience, but I crack up. I saw somebody posting something about me getting a duty free in Parliament. I came through the 12th Parliament and was entitled to two, didn't even take one. I still use the same car I had when I was general counsel. And
They,
so
they don't know you, man.
people do not
They don't know
understand
you, sis.
that this is, oh my God, man. Nigel, words don't fail me, but I find myself at a loss for words recently because there's such a pain and a groaning in the hearts of Guyanese. Because you know why? We could see it, we could touch it, we could taste it, we could imagine that Guyana where if our leaders would just grow up
If only, if only,
and
if
do what
only.
we have to do in the best interest of the people. And yes, we're going to be touched by geopolitics. We live on the earth. As long as you live on the earth, geopolitics will affect you. But if you are able as a nation to understand that this the pendulum will swing, but it gonna swing back too.
Right.
Eh?
Yeah.
So Nigel, I guess what you're hearing me say is that this thing of leadership is not, Azruddin has to be aware that it's not going to
No.
be about him and his worries. And being the opposition leader is not going to be about him and his problems. It is about the people of Guyana. And as long as you are working in the best interest of the people of Guyana, Forward Guyana will support. If
Absolutely,
you
we
are
will.
not, however,
We shall. And I believe that come Monday, actually, I'm so eager to um see you there and see you take this oath, knowing the history of the Ghana movement, knowing that we've created history, and knowing that you would stand there as an African descendant, and deeply emotional I am about this. I don't know what I'll do then. I may shout, I may run around, spin something on that day. To know that you're the first African descendant, female, to ever lead a party, and you'll be sworn in as a member of parliament who would have contested or participated in the campaign for the.
so the folks at President's College, my alma mater, they did some research. One of them coined it to me so beautifully. They said in our research, it is the first time in Guyana's history and possibly CARICOM
Possibly.
that a female founded a political party, forged a coalition, and led that coalition into the National Assembly all in one electoral cycle.
One. Within within 2 months.
I don't stop to think about those things, and
you wouldn't, because it comes naturally to you.
yeah, I don't stop.
And that's what people need to understand about you, if they would. The passion you have for Guyana causes you not to think about Amanza.
No, but I'm often accused of being very selfish.
Listen here.
It's coincidental. It's coincidental. You ask the people who,
by whom?
That I'm not easily
by
controlled.
Whom? Exactly.
And I have no bones about saying to you, no. No is a complete sentence, No. No,
Tell me about it.
I'm
Come
not
on.
doing that. No, I don't agree. No, I don't know. I no.
Yeah.
And as a woman, a lot of people are not used to it. You see, Nigeria, you're very comfortable. You got an empowered daughters, you have an empowered wife. So you
Yeah.
are very comfortable with, so
No.
listen,
Right.
I'm hard to work with. No,
Yeah.
no. Do this. Why are we doing
No.
this? You, this is not a jump how high kind of person,
Right.
but again, it really is not about me. I just hope that people see and understand that, man, we got passed this way but once, and so we got to live it. We can't live in fear. We can't cower in the shadows. We can't be pulling the blinds and peeping. What kind of existence is that? Me, come from the line of people that build this country, that labored in the sun for
That's
400
right.
years.
Duck out with shovels and spades.
I come from a line of women that were pregnant, made babies, had a baby, and went back
Out to
out.
work in the sun, bleeding and
Do
working.
you understand
And
what I'm
that's why I
saying?
speak to. Yeah. Let me put this very clearly to guys, people. You are hard to work with if the work decides that they don't want to do the work of the people. And that's the truth. As I've said, man, enough experience to go. If we're going to be serious about the people's business, we could work together. And most importantly, I find within you the understanding of the bigger picture. And that is why even with this somebody said the sound is choppy. I don't know why. This is not me. Tell us when it's fine, please, because we're winding down. One of my sisters had a very long week, and Monday, as I've said, get we have to get hair done, nails done, eyes done, ears done,
Yeah,
whatever has to be done.
you
But
can't be looking from the floor up. You represent grace that misbehaving at the top. We gotta do something. Gotta get it together. Got to get it together. You gotta
I,
put your best foot forward for the people
I
again.
look
Come
I
on,
look
man.
forward to that, and I don't want to miss that moment to know that history is being created by Ford Guyana movement, and who knows what lies ahead for us in the next few years. As you continue to stand, as we continue to fight, we're here to go anywhere, as they would say. We're here to stay, and we're here to stand. Amanza, please, we will have to do this hopefully soon, before Monday, because the other matters to be discussed. And as always, I sense from the people that stability when you hear. It could be a hint that you're the voice that leads a nation, because there's a sense of stability when you speak. There's an understanding that this is the quality that you have that's so critical, is that you see beyond what is, and you speak to that while you are here. Irfan doesn't have that. Irfan doesn't know what happened yesterday, if you ask me. Much more to speak to it. So because you have that foresight and that understanding of how to connect it to the present, it works wonders for you. And I must say tonight, if I don't get a chance to see you tomorrow or Monday, that I remain one, apart from my father, of the proudest of men who have come to know you and what you represent. Thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being Amanda.
No
And
nobody's dominate. No nobody's dominate. We got work to do, man. We got a lot of work to do, and I know that we are entering into a serious time. They are going to be people who will be naysayers. You're gonna always have naysayers. If everybody love you, you got a problem. But there will always be naysayers. Forward Guyana movement was birthed out of the need for a new direction and a new way. And, people are anxious in this time. And so as we wrap up, I want to say to every Guyanese under the sound of my voice, chin up, chin up. We are entering a time that we have not entered before. And to survive it, we are going to have to implement strategies that we've never implemented before. The bedrock of it will be that we have to become each other's keeper. We got to look out for Mati, as we used to say on the quarantine where I'm from.
Yes.
You understand? We have to start making sure that every person, as long as you planting something, we've got to begin to go back to those days when we can feed ourselves. We've got to begin to implement strategies where our neighbor, you can plant boro, I got balanje, and then we can barter.
Yes.
We have to begin to be each other's keeper. And I'm gonna tell you, the people that you always have the trolls, you always have
Oh yeah, that's the job.
that will want to distract. That is their job. We have to be focused, because if we are going to come out on the other side of this victorious, we have to understand that we're gonna have to do it together. As leaders, we are required to lead, and you, the people, got to demand more from us. You have got to demand more from us. And let me tell something to the people who follow the PPP. If you believe that you are following this party so you can't criticize them, then you're a part
Mm.
of the problem.
Yeah.
You are a part of the problem. So, Nigel, we're going to make it. We are going to be all right. It's going to
We
be
shall.
shaky for a few mornings. But, you know, hey, these, we're going to have to begin to hold on to a spirit of patriotism.
Yes.
We're going to have to begin to sing our national songs again. We're going to have to begin to beat our drums again.
Yeah.
We're going to have to begin to forge that unity that got us through. When the indentured servants came, they were so battered and bruised and beaten from that long voyage. And it was the African slaves that bound them up, that nursed them back to health. And then somebody looked on and said, but if these two people get along, hey, our interests are going to be undermined.
Yes.
So we got to sow seeds of discord between them. And today we are eating the bitter fruit of that harvest. But Nigel, we can either work together as brothers, or we can perish together as fools. That's what Martin
That's
Luther
what he
King
said.
said. And that
Yeah.
is the reality that is upon us. So it's Friday night. We will take heart, and we will just push through. We will just push through. With God on our side, we are going to make it. With good, right? David Rudder has a song, Day of the Warlord. He
Mhm.
says, a part of it says, these people want you to put your hands in the air. They want you to surrender. It says, no way. It
Mhm.
says, tell them the good people say no. The
No.
good people say so. And it's now for the good people again to stand up and to speak and say no.
It
It will
is.
not go so. And I'll go finish 90.
Thank you and do well. See you
Well,
soon. Hopefully we can do something on Sunday. I look forward to the same.
yes, I think there's yes, we have something at 7, where there will be a discussion on national security issues with Dr. Blackman. And
Great.
so happy to come on after then. Now, people are going to need to hear from us a lot more often
Definitely so.
as, we seek to reassure them through this time. So,
Definitely
love you
so.
all. Blessings.
Much
Be
love,
well.
sis. Do well.
All right.
Bye.
Great. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. And so, viewers, you've heard from our member of parliament, Mr. Manzo Walton Desir, one who I've said has the passion, the love, the patriotic nature interwoven into the fabric of who she is. And that is so important. I thank you all for the time we spent here this evening. Please be safe. And I reiterate, be alert. You've had one experience, do not wait for two or three. Be very mindful of those who leave bags and walk away, especially if you don't be around that environment. Be alert, be loud. Don't whisper concerns anymore. Let's say what you notice. Let's tell another person beside you, have you seen that? If it appears to be suspicious, it could very well be. And that's the attitude we must have, especially in places like the malls and hospitals, clinics, and these places. Be alert. Be very, very vigilant. If you see a vehicle pull up somewhere and just stop in some position, pay attention. It may require a lot, but don't miss one opportunity to be your brothers and your sisters' keeper. We do thank you for the time you spent and look forward to seeing you in the very near future. Do well, be safe.